Do you know what beef is? Do you know what beef is? Ask yourself.
As you saw from the intro hint, we're making beef ribs today. Now, this cut of ribs is not your typical short ribs that you get at a grocery store. These are plate ribs that you find at a specialty butcher shop or restaurant supplier. They're not going to make themselves, so let's get into some preparation. First thing we're going to do is the Prieto method of coal distribution, which you're seeing right here. And that way you get an even burn and consistent temperature throughout your cook. Putting the charcoal out in a horseshoe shape with a hole in the middle. If you're running a big green egg, just have to make sure the charcoal level doesn't go above the firebox there. Just make sure all the charcoal pieces are distributed towards the outside and leave a hole in the middle. Next, to place the wood chunks inside, just barely touching the charcoal so they will smoke and not burn. And now it's time to light a fire.
Now that's a fire!
Now let's go inside and prep some meat. As you may have noticed, I like to use aluminum pans to keep things nice and tidy. One thing I like to do is apply my dry rub and wrap the food in saran wrap so you get a nice bark development. It's better if you can do it overnight. In this case, I did it in the same day. Something new since I didn't get to brine these overnight, so I'm trying to see what happens if I inject ribs. I just got this really cool competition grade injector that I'm gonna try out. I'm experimenting with Meat Church Holy Cow brisket injection to see what kind of results I get.
Oh, yes.
So I inject on the sides along the bones, and then I proceed to the top to inject in 1-inch grids to make sure I get everything covered. Brining or marinating foods will only get you so far, but for thicker cuts of meat, in order to get flavor deep inside, you have to inject. I'm using the excess moisture that builds up in pools here as a binder for the dry rub because it will stick to it nicely. Today's dry rub is Holy Cow by Meat Church, which is made especially for beef. It's amazing. We'll let that set up and get happy for a few minutes, and then it's time to go outside and on to the smoker. We're gonna run this a little hot and fast. We're gonna run it at 300 degrees for about 8 to 9 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I run it for 3 hours with the lid closed to let the smoke kind of start seeping into the meat and the bark to develop, and then I start spritzing.
Oh, yeah.
I set a timer and repeat this process of spritzing every hour, and what you get is a nice bark development. Also, the sugars that are in the spritz that I use kind of caramelize, and it's just wonderful. And also, you're keeping the meat moist throughout the cooking. Whoops, I forgot to mention that I also pour beer in for a nice steam bath and smoke and heat. It's amazing. The end of 9 or 10 hours at 300 degrees, you should get a nice rib that looks like this, super tender. These come out so tender that I have to use my sharpest knife and hold the bone to cut through it for presentation purposes so that it all holds together. Otherwise, I could mush right through it with my fingers. That's the end of this video. As always, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and also let me know what you think down in the comments. Until the next time, keep smoking.
Do you really
Life after.